George Granville, 1st Baron Lansdowne PC, was an English poet, playwright, and politician who served as a Privy Counsellor from 1712. Origins. Granville was the son of Bernard Granville, the fourth son of Sir Bevil Granville of Bideford in Devon and Stow in the parish of Kilkhampton in Cornwall, a heroic royalist commander in the Civil War. His uncle was John Granville, 1st Earl of Bath, whose half-first cousin was George Monk, 1st Duke of Albemarle, who both played leading roles in the restoration of the monarchy to King Charles II in 1660. He was heir male of William Henry Granville, 3rd Earl of Bath, a 19-year-old son of his first cousin Charles Granville, 2nd Earl of Bath, Lord of the Manors of Bideford in Devon and of Stow, Kilkhampton, Cornwall. These connections guaranteed that Granville began life as a staunch Tory and Jacobite career. His early interests were as much literary as political. He entered Trinity College, Cambridge in 1677. Among his productions while there were poems welcoming Mary of Modena when she visited the university. He spent time in Paris, and after the Glorious Revolution of 1688, which brought down the Jacobites, he lived for a while in retirement in England. By the mid-1690s he had befriended John Dryden and begun to write plays. He wrote an undistinguished comedy of manners entitled The She-Gallants, which was staged unsuccessfully in 1695. His adult plays bear the marks of Dryden's influence. The heroic love is taken from the first book of Homer's Iliad. Granville also followed Dryden in adapting Shakespeare, and Granville's The Jew of Venice was a successful updating of The Merchant of Venice. Perhaps his greatest success was The British Enchanters, a pseudo-operatic extravaganza staged by Thomas Batterton's company. In the opinion of Samuel Johnson, Granville's non-dramatic poetry is slavishly imitative of Edmund Waller. However, some of his poetry was popular in its day. Perhaps Granville's most useful act as regards poetry was the encouragement he gave to Alexander Pope, which Pope remembered with gratitude in his epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot. Political life. The death of Granville's parents and of his uncle the 1st Earl of Bath in 1701 placed Granville in a position of power which the accession of Queen Anne in 1702 allowed him to employ. With the help of his uncle's family, he was elected MP for Foy in 1702, and made governor of Pendennis Castle the following year. In Parliament, he operated in the sphere of Harley, who was an indifferent patron at first. The height of his fame during the Godolphin Marlborough administration came from his spirited defence of Henry Sacheverell in 1710. After the fall of the Godolphin government, Granville became MP for Cornwall, and on the 28th of September 1710 he was made Secretary of War. In this capacity, he oversaw the passage of important bills on munitions and recruitment. However, his experience in the Tory government was marked by family and legal strife. He was the heir male to the senior line of the Granville family following the death without progeny in 1711 of his cousin William Granville, 3rd Earl of Bath. He was not in succession to the earldom and was in recognition raised to the peerage on the 1st of January 1712 as Baron Lansdowne of Bideford in the peerage of Great Britain. He expended time and money in an ultimately futile effort to secure the title of Earl of Bath. Despite some success, his tenure in the War Office was marred by accusations of corruption and expensive contested elections. He was made a Privy Counsellor in 1712. In 1714 Queen Anne was succeeded by the Hanoverian King George I, who favoured the Whigs. Almost all the Tories who held office under Anne were dismissed, including Lord Lansdowne. Embittered, he began a secret correspondence with the Jacobite old pretender, James III. On the 3rd of November 1722, James, who refused to recognize his peerage, Baron Lansdowne, bestowed by Queen Anne, created him Duke of Albemarle, Marquis Monkenfitz-Hemin, Earl of Bath, Viscount Beville, and Baron Lansdowne of Bideford in the Jacobite peerage of England, which supposed titles had no legal validity in the Kingdom of Great Britain. One of these titles referred to his family's supposed descent from Richard I de Granville of Neath Castle, one of the 12 Knights of Glamorgan and a brother and follower of Robert Fitzhamon, the Norman conqueror of Glamorgan. The titles Monk and Albemarle referred to the fact that the first Earl of Bath had been granted reversion of his cousin Monk's dukedom of Albemarle, should the Duke have died without male progeny. The title Lansdowne referred to Lansdowne Hill near Bath in Somerset, where his grandfather Sir Beville Granville had met his heroic death at the Battle of Lansdowne in 1643. Marriage. On the 15th of December 1711 in the Church of St. Martin in the Fields in Westminster, London, he married Mary Villiers, the daughter of Edward Villiers, 1st Earl of Jersey and the widow of Thomas Thynne, 1st Viscount Weymouth. He left no male progeny, and thus at his death his title became extinct. Death and burial. He died in London on the 29th of January 1735, his wife having predeceased him by a few days, and was buried with her in the Church of St. Clement Danes on the 3rd of February 1735. His title became extinct on his death.